The central banks are panicking and they are ready to pivot. Now, the central banks control the money supply. They increase the money supply and we have booms. Everything's good. Then they extract the money supply. They take away the punch bowl and everybody has a bad time. And that's exactly what's happening. And everybody is wanting to know, when will they bring the party back? When will the money come back? These easy monetary policies, the QE, the quantitative easing that we've been so used to. Now, it's no surprise if you've been watching this channel, you know that in November of last year, the Federal Reserve, the Central Bank of the United States, finally said enough. We're going to start tightening. We're going to start raising rates and eventually do some quantitative tightening. Now, they announced that, and the United States market started falling. The NASDAQ is down dramatically. Crypto's down dramatically. S&P 500 is down. But Europe, the ECB, the European Central Bank, they wanted to keep it going. They were continuing with their quantitative easing for quite some time. Just recently, they decided that, hey, we also have to tighten because inflation is running around like crazy. And that's where things get interesting. So we have the Federal Reserve of the United States, the European Central Bank, we have the Bank of Japan. There's other central banks as well, but those are the main three that are kind of in our solar system, our stratosphere, if you will. And it's what the ECB is doing that's really caught me off guard. So we saw just off the news that they're switching from a quantitative easing policy to a quantitative tightening policy. They've already been forced to pivot. What does that mean? Change their mind, switch course, change direction, 180-degree difference we can see here. If you look at my screen, why the ECB called an emergency meeting as it wrestles with fragmentation risk. So this wasn't a scheduled meeting. They just had their scheduled meeting. Things got so bad since they had their scheduled meeting that they're now forced into having an emergency meeting. And if we take a look at this, we can start to see why real quickly. So the Italian government, every government runs a deficit. That means every government needs debt to survive. We're on a debt-based monetary system. Everyone needs debt to survive. And what we can see here is that the Italian government's financing costs are up more than 400% in just the last 6 months. Imagine if your expenses quadrupled in that period of time. Now imagine you're a sovereign with that much money. It's a really big problem. And it's not just Italy. Here we have Greece. Greece government financing costs are up 300% in 6 months. And it's not just Italy. It's not just Greece. It's Spain. It's Portugal. It's Malta. It's Cyprus, and a whole list of other countries. Now we can see here it says that markets are disappointed after the ECB concludes this emergency meeting. It's short on detail. They need more clarity. Please help us. Now, what we can see, if we look back at this original article, notice the word here, as it wrestles with fragmentation risk. So what they said was that some of these nations that are doing really bad, that are in really bad shape, I don't think there's a lot that we can do with that, which threatens to fragment the European Union. So we can see here, it says that they want to create a new tool to combat unwarranted jumps in euro area bond yields, which I just showed you. Italy, Greece, jumping like crazy, as the market strain at the prospect of the first interest rate increases in more than a decade. So they lowered interest rates all the way down so people can keep borrowing money, and now they're trying to raise them. The markets certainly don't like that. They say, well, there is a tool, and it's called QE. That's the tool they've been using for a decade. But naturally, the panicking ECB can't admit it's forced to revert to square one just days after it solemnly vowed that QE is ending. They've been using it forever, and they said, we can't do it anymore. We're pivoting. And within days, they're automatically being forced to pivot. They can't do that. But it says that it's in the process of sending European bond yields soaring. I just showed you Greece and Italy, and having to hold today's meeting as a result, an emergency meeting. Earlier this week, shortly after the ECB's latest meeting disappointed markets and concluded without a discussion of Europe's growing bond market fragmentation, which of course is to be expected since QE, the glue that held the euro area's bond market together, is ending. All right, so the euro market has stayed together because of this policy of providing liquidity to everybody. But if they're going to pull that liquidity away and then everybody's going to start crashing or soaring, whichever way you look at it, bonds and yields work in inverse areas, then why would they stay together? Now we can see again, it says, just hours before the Fed's first 75 basis point rate hike since 1994, which was today at the time of this recording, and with Italian bonds in free fall, European Central Bank unexpectedly announced it would hold an emergency ad hoc meeting of its rate setters starting, and it would discuss current market conditions. So, what's going on here? Like I said, when you bring rates to zero, it increases the money supply because people borrow more. When you increase rates, people borrow less, which means less money comes into an existence. Now, when you run a Ponzi scheme, which the US dollar, the euro are Ponzi schemes, when you run that, you can't taper that down. If you want to grow, you have to continue. As soon as you pull it back, it starts to fall apart. It's easy math. And this is exactly why we need to end the Fed, as Ron Paul would say. The Fed has one tool. When all you have is a hammer, the whole world looks like a nail. Central banks have one tool, monetary policy. They can increase the money supply and they can decrease the money supply. So, what do? Well, they only have one tool. They use it. They increase it. We have a boom. Everyone's happy. Everyone's making money. You're buying more goods. You're expanding your business. You're buying new equipment. You're hiring new employees. Everything's going great. And then they suck the money out. Next thing you know, everything's crashing. Go bankrupt on all your new equipment. Fire all your new employees. And just when you've hit rock bottom, what does the Fed do? Put money right back in again. And you try to grow again. And you get new equipment. And you get new buildings. And you hire new people. And then what does the Fed do? Suck the money right back out of it. I mean, it's ridiculous. That's why we say in the Fed. I think that solves it, but what do you think? I'd love to hear your opinion on that. You can leave me a comment down below. If you're not already subscribed to this channel, please click that button so more people see this video and you're notified when I put them out. And of course, hit the thumbs up if you like this video, because you know I'm working hard to bring you the latest breaking news. And if you don't like the video, besides the fact of it being bad news, you can give me a thumbs down. That's okay, but at least leave me a comment to let me know why. And that's what I got for you today, all right? To your success. I'm out. Since you've stayed to the end, I know you like this video, which means you're probably gonna really like this video right here and this video right here.